Drawn and Redrawn, the making of India's internal boundaries. Hi, and welcome back to India State Stories. Last episode, we examined the legal documents that shaped the integration process. This episode explores the life of key figures such as Sardar Patel, VP Menon, Lord Mountbatten, Jawaharlal Nehru, and KM Munshi as they navigated this complex political landscape to forge a cohesive nation. More details are in the show notes below, and let's dive in.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a vast, newly independent nation, right? But it's not a single unified country. Not yet. It's more like a sprawling, intricate patchwork quilt. We're talking hundreds of separate states.
Hundreds, yeah. Each with its own ruler, its own distinct laws.
And its own dreams of being fully independent sovereign.
It sounds like a recipe for immediate, just overwhelming chaos, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, today we're diving deep into one of the most, frankly, astonishing feats of nation building in modern history. How India, right after independence in 1947, was meticulously stitched together.
Stitched together into the single, cohesive, democratic nation that we recognize today. It's quite a story.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to really get a grip on the incredible efforts, often, nail-biting efforts, of the figures who made this happen. We'll be focusing on people like Sardar Patel, VP Menon, Lord Mountbatten, Nehru, KM Munshi.
A remarkable group. Their collaboration, which was sometimes, let's be honest, fiercely contentious. It didn't just stop India from fragmenting into countless pieces. It actually laid the foundation, the bedrock for its democratic future.
It's a story of shrewd strategy, brilliant diplomacy, and, sometimes a necessary show of force.
And what's truly fascinating here, what we really want you to grasp, isn't just the sheer scale of it all. I mean, over 565 princely states.
Just imagine that number.
Exactly. But it's also the incredibly short, intense time frame. This wasn't some gradual process unfolding over decades.
Yeah, it happened fast.
Very fast. It required an extraordinary mix of foresight, relentless pragmatism, and just decisive action from these key players. You'll hear how their complex relationships, their, interpersonal dynamics, and the huge political challenges they were up against, how all that ultimately forged a single sovereign entity.
For what could have so easily just unraveled.
Easily.
Okay, let's properly set the scene for you. India gains independence from Britain. A huge moment. But what exactly did that mean for the map, for the political reality on the ground?
Well, Sardar Patel famously put it very clearly. He said, the red and yellow colors on India's map have to be made one.
He was talking about the difference between British India, the red bits that would become the new Dominion, and all those princely states, the yellow bits. Hundreds of them.
And that distinction brings us to a really critical legal concept, the lapse of paramountcy.
All right, explain that a bit.
So when British rule officially ended, all the treaties, the agreements that tied these princely states to the British crown, they just lapsed, evaporated. Meaning, theoretically, overnight, these 565 plus states became fully independent entities, sovereign nations in their own right.
Yeah.
And many of them, from Travancore way down south to Kashmir up north, they had serious ambitions of staying independent.
You can see why that created such urgency.
Immense urgency, and a really dangerous possibility of fragmentation. The Congress leadership saw this as, frankly, an existential threat to India's unity, to its future.
So the stakes just couldn't have been higher. This wasn't just about drawing lines on a map.
Not at all.
It was about preventing, utter chaos. And that phrase, anarchy and chaos, that would become pretty significant, wouldn't it?
It became a powerful tool, yes. A warning, really. How did they even start tackling something so enormous?
Well, a first really decisive step was moving fast. They set up the States Department on June 27th, 1947. Very quick.
Super quick.
Yeah.
And crucially, Sardar Patel was put in charge, and VP Menon was appointed secretary.
And that partnership kicked things off immediately.
Instantly. It marked the start of their incredibly effective and ultimately, decisive collaboration. Menon didn't waste a minute. He immediately drafted a policy statement for Patel.
That statement, the one issued on July 5th, 1947, it sounds like a real political masterstroke. What made it so effective? It was persuasive, but it also had this warning baked in.
It was a masterclass, really, in strategic communication. Patel knew that just making direct threats would probably backfire.
Push them away.
Exactly. So instead, he appealed to their common interests, their shared heritage with this new India that was emerging. He framed joining India, accession, as the only logical, the only beneficial path.
And the anarchy and chaos bit.
That wasn't presented as a threat from India. It was more like, look, this is the natural consequence if you try to stand alone in the middle of all this post-partition turmoil.
So it played on their self-interest, their responsibility.
Absolutely. Responsibility to their own people, their own stability.
And Menon then, as Patel's sort of chief tactician, the operational brain, he really used every tool available, didn't he? Charm, pressure.
Oh, every single one. His approach was this carefully judged mix. Persuasion, yes. Charm, definitely. But also, when needed, outright coercion. He wasn't afraid to be blunt.
Like with the Maharaja of Patiala.
Famously told him, straight up, independent of us, you cannot exist. Just laid it out there.
And with Travancore, the Diwan there, Sir C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, he was known to be quite shrewd.
Yes, so Menon appealed directly to his intelligence. He laid out the strategic advantages of joining India, but also keep reiterating that looming threat of instability, of chaos, if they chose to go it alone.
What about the really tricky cases? Like Maharaja Hanwant Singh of Jodhpur. He was seriously tempted by Jinnah's offer from Pakistan, right? A blank check.
He was. Jinnah's offer was incredibly tempting, promising almost anything Jodhpur wanted, a real lure.
So how did Menon counter that?
Well, Menon offered concessions from India too, but more importantly, he kind of brought the Maharaja back down to earth.
Reality check.
Big time. Reminded him of the geography. Jodhpur was surrounded by India, and the very real danger of communal violence erupting within Jodhpur if he joined Pakistan.
And then there's that story. After he signed.
Oh, the pistol incident. Yes, incredible. Yeah. After signing the instrument of accession, Hanwant Singh, clearly in a moment of intense frustration and anger, actually pulls out a pistol and points it at Menon.
No way!
Yes. Luckily, Lord Mountbatten was there. He very quickly, very calmly stepped in, diffused the whole thing.
Wow.
And the truly astonishing part, apparently later on, the three of them actually shared a laugh about it.
That tells you something about the sheer pressure they were all under.
Immense pressure. And the composure needed.
Mountbatten himself, he also played this crucial, almost theatrical role, didn't he? Using his royal connections as the sort of ambassador for accession.
Oh, absolutely pivotal. His address to the Chamber of Princes, July 25th, 1947, that was a masterclass in diplomacy and psychology.
Speaking off the cuff, apparently.
Extempore, yes. He used this captivating mix of fearful prophecies about what would happen to states left isolated, and moments of really well-placed humor to lighten the mood. He famously warned them, look, you cannot run away from the Dominion government, which is your neighbor.
Any more than you can run away from the subjects for whose welfare you are responsible. Powerful stuff.
Very powerful. And he showed real finesse, too, like offering the Nawab of Bhopal, who was a major opponent of joining India, he offered to keep his signed accession document secret for 10 days. Just to let the Nawab save face. Little touches like that made a difference.
It's just astounding that this combination, the strategy, the diplomacy, the personal connections, the pressure, it led to almost all the states signing up within, 3 weeks?
Just 3 weeks. The speed is almost unbelievable when you think about the complexity.
Truly unimaginable. But, as history always seems to show, the toughest nuts are the last to crack.
Indeed.
When charm and persuasion hit a brick wall, you get the flashpoints. The big three that needed a much firmer hand. Let's talk Junagadh, Kashmir, and Hyderabad.
Right. These three were the ultimate tests. So first, Junagadh.
Okay.
This was a state with a Hindu majority, but ruled by a Muslim Nawab. After independence, he announced he was acceding to Pakistan.
Which geographically made no sense.
None at all. And demographically, it was completely against the people's likely wishes. Patel moved swiftly. He was absolutely determined not to let this stand as a precedent.
What happened?
Well, the Nawab eventually fled to Pakistan. India stepped in, took over the administration, and then, crucially, they held a referendum.
And the result?
Overwhelmingly in favor of joining India. Patel's visit afterwards, November 13th, 1947, where he had addressed a huge crowd, maybe 50,000 people, that really hammered home the public will, a victory for the democratic principle.
Okay, then there's Kashmir, which is, of course, still such a sensitive and complex issue today.
Deeply sensitive, yes. And we know Nehru took over handling Kashmir directly, partly it seems because of his deep personal, emotional ties to the region.
Right, his family roots were there.
Exactly. While Patel initially had oversight, Nehru's involvement deepened, and he brought in N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar to assist him.
And Patel wasn't happy about taking it to the UN.
No, there was definite disagreement there. Patel openly criticized the decision to go to the United Nations. He famously and maybe prophetically called it an insecurity council. And Mountbatten, remember, had personally visited Maharaja Hari Singh, his old friend, trying to persuade him to join India before the transfer of power.
But the Maharaja hesitated.
He hesitated. He held on to hopes of independence, perhaps playing for time. That indecisiveness meant accession wasn't signed before the deadline, a delay that proved incredibly costly, leading to the conflict that erupted shortly after.
And finally, the biggest challenge, perhaps, Hyderabad.
Geographically and politically, yes. The largest princely state, smack bang in the middle of India. Patel saw its potential independence as a dagger into the heart of India. He used that exact phrase.
You can see why. It would have been untenable.
Utterly. So initial negotiations with the Nizam, Hyderabad's ruler, they failed. He then violated the standstill agreement they'd signed.
And tensions just ratcheted up.
Dramatically. Made much worse by this violent militia, the Razakars, who were terrorizing people, particularly Hindus, in the state.
And this is where K.M. Munshi comes in.
Yes, K.M. Munshi, an eminent constitutional lawyer, a strong believer in Akhanda Hindustan, undivided India. He was appointed India's agent general there in late 47.
But he was isolated.
Effectively, yes. He found himself pretty much isolated, describing himself as a prisoner in his own house. The Nizam was hostile, the situation chaotic.
So Munshi's role was more observation and reporting back at that point, witnessing the breakdown.
He was a critical eyewitness, constantly sending reports back detailing the escalating Razakar violence, the Nizam's flat refusal to bring in any kind of responsible democratic government.
And Nehru initially wanted to avoid force.
Nehru strongly preferred a peaceful solution, wanted to avoid military intervention if at all possible. But Patel, ever the pragmatist, argued forcefully in the cabinet that action had become unavoidable.
And he won them over.
He did. In September 1948, Indian forces moved in, Operation Polo. Patel cleverly reframed it publicly as a police action.
Not an invasion, but restoring law and order.
Precisely, a move to stop the violence and chaos. Afterwards, the Nizam summoned Munshi to announce his government was resigning. Munshi then made a broadcast assuring people that India was a secular state aiming to calm fears.
And for Patel, this was the final piece.
For Patel, the Nizam's surrender really marked the culmination, the final crucial step in achieving India's geographic and political unification.
It's so clear that behind all the high-level strategy, the diplomacy, the moments of force, these were real people with complex relationships.
Absolutely fundamental. Those personal dynamics shape everything.
Like the bond between Patel and Menon.
Absolutely crucial. Patel treated Menon not just as a subordinate, but as an equal partner. Their skills perfectly complemented each other. Patel, the strategist and statesman, Menon, the brilliant administrator and negotiator.
And Menon was shrewd enough to get Mountbatten on board with his plan.
Masterfully so. He persuaded Mountbatten to adopt his accession plan. Menon knew Mountbatten's royal prestige, his influence with the princes, was vital to actually sell the plan, even if Mountbatten got most of the public credit.
Strategic humility, as you said.
Exactly. Menon understood the bigger picture.
And then you have the giants, Nehru and Patel, working together, but also clashing sometimes.
Oh, definitely. They collaborated towards the larger goal of a united India, no question. But they had significant ideological differences, too.
Like over the privy purses.
Yes, the compensation for the rulers giving up their power. Patel staunchly defended it. He argued it was a small price to pay for the bloodless revolution.
His argument being it avoided more conflict and secured unity quickly.
Precisely. He saw it as pragmatic. But Nehru was often reluctant. He didn't like spending public money on former royalty. He felt it was, well, undemocratic, perhaps.
It just highlights, doesn't it? Even with a shared vision.
Right.
It took constant negotiation, compromise, navigating these really strong personalities.
Absolutely. And Nehru himself, looking back in September 1948, he admitted something quite remarkable.
What was that?
He confessed that even he, someone right at the heart of the process, would have hesitated to say that such rapid changes would take place in the States.
Even he was astonished by the speed.
Astonished. It was an incredible achievement, basically completed in just over 2 years. Dizzying speed.
So, stepping back, looking at this incredible period of nation building,
Yeah.
what's the real legacy for us today? What should we take away?
Well, connecting it to the bigger picture, the integration of these hundreds of princely states wasn't just about India grabbing territory.
No, it was more fundamental.
Much more. It was, as Patel called it, that bloodless revolution. It effectively dismantled centuries of autocracy across vast swaths of the subcontinent. And it extended the reach of democratically elected government to almost every corner of India. It wasn't just about new borders on a map.
It was about laying the foundations.
Exactly. The bedrock for a truly unified, modern, and democratic India. These individuals, through their immense efforts, both collective and individual, they forged a political cohesion that was never guaranteed.
Far from it.
They turned this disparate, fragmented collection of states into a single functioning republic.
A really profound deep dive into the messy, complex, but ultimately successful making of a nation. It really raises such an important question, doesn't it? What if? What if those leaders, with their strong personalities, their different ideologies, what if they hadn't found a way to collaborate, to compromise on that core vision of a united India?
Yeah.
How profoundly different could the map, the whole trajectory of South Asia, look today?
That's a huge question, a very sobering thought.
Something to really chew on and consider. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the remarkable, often overlooked story of India's unification.
We've really only scratched the surface, haven't we?
We absolutely have. There's so much more to this incredible chapter in history.